The evening hung heavy with unspoken words, a stillness that felt almost too intimate for our home. The soft hum of the refrigerator filled the quiet space, a gentle reminder of the moment. The lingering scent of lavender wrapped around them, a sweet yet forbidden comfort in the stillness. Curled up on the couch, I held a book in my lap, the soft glow of the evening lamp wrapping around me like a secret embrace. In that fleeting instant, my heart raced, a secret thrill amidst the turmoil surrounding us. And then he stepped through the door. Oh, Jone, the boy who stole my heart, 18. Yet he loomed over me at 6'2", exuding a quiet confidence that made it easy to overlook his youth. But tonight, that spark of assurance had vanished into the shadows. He slipped into the room, hands buried in the pockets of his hoodie, shoulders hunched as if he wished to disappear. His tousled dark hair brushed against his forehead, hiding his eyes as he glanced nervously around the room, finally letting his gaze drop to the floor. Hey, he whispered, his voice a soft, trembling secret. I glanced away from the pages, my heart racing as I placed the book down softly. Hey Jone, what are you doing right now? His heart raced as he shifted nervously, caught between desire and doubt. He lay there, eyes fixed on the ceiling, breath shallow and uneven, his face a canvas of vulnerability and longing. At last, he inhaled sharply, his gaze meeting mine with a mix of longing and hesitation. His eyes shimmered with a haunting sorrow that gripped my heart tightly, feel so wrong. He repeated it, his voice a fragile breath in the silence. It's not foolish, but I can't move forward if you keep your secrets hidden from me. He paused, his jaw tightening, battling the surge of emotions threatening to spill over. The turmoil in his gaze was undeniable, the tension of holding back while yearning to be free. At last, his voice broke the silence, quivering with unspoken feelings. It's about the girl who makes my heart race. We were on the brink of something so intense. I nodded, my heart racing, masking my true feelings behind a calm facade. All right, just tell me everything that unfolded. He swallowed hard, heat creeping into his cheeks, a mix of shame and longing swirling within him. It began with a spark. Our lips met in a rush, fingers tracing paths along skin, and everything felt electric. But then he fell silent, his cheeks burning deeper, and I caught a glimpse of the shame flickering in his gaze. But then what happens next? I whispered softly. He inhaled sharply, his voice trembling with unspoken feelings. When her eyes met mine, without my pants, the world felt different, charged with an unspoken thrill that sent shivers down my spine. Her heart raced, eyes wide with panic. I can't, she whispered, and then she froze. I frowned, my heart heavy with longing for him. What went wrong? He averted his gaze, his voice barely escaping his lips, thick with unspoken longing. She whispered it was too much, that it was too much for her to bear. A wave of longing washed over me, my heart aching at the sorrow in his voice. Oh Jone, my heart aches for you. He shook his head, a deep blush creeping across his cheeks, as if the weight of unspoken feelings hung in the air between them. She whispered that she would, offer me something more intimate. But after what felt like an eternity, she finally pulled away, leaving a longing that was far from satisfied. His voice trembled with frustration, each word laced with the sting of rejection, and it shattered something deep within me. But then he continued, his voice trembling with unspoken feelings, and now she's sharing it with everyone at uni, all her friends, all my friends. They laugh, their voices sharp, branding me as broken, deformed, as if I'm carrying a secret that shouldn't exist. The words lingered, sharp and unforgiving, igniting a fierce protectiveness within me for him. How could someone be so careless, so cruel? Jone, my heart races at the mere thought of you. His gaze met mine, tears threatening to spill, and I felt the weight of uncertainty in his eyes. Then why does it feel so real, like a secret everyone knows but me? I sighed, my heart pounding as I searched for the words that felt just out of reach. Hear me, you're not flawed, you're not wrong, you're extraordinary, one of a kind, unconventional yet undeniably beautiful. And anyone who disagrees simply doesn't understand. His eyes held doubt, yet he chose silence. Instead, he sat up, brushing away the tears with the back of his hand. I'm lost, I can't find my way. My heart aches with a sense of longing, a deep yearning that feels both exhilarating and wrong. I drew him close, wrapping my arms around him, feeling the warmth of his body against mine. You're never truly alone, Jone. I've arrived, and I'll be here to guide you through this, no matter the cost. I'll do anything for you. He held onto me tightly, his body quaking just enough to stir something deep within me. A fierce, protective love that felt both exhilarating and wrong. He was so young, so fragile, and it broke my heart to see him suffer like this. Yet, I couldn't shake the feeling that my heart was leading me into dangerous territory, a place where my desire to support him danced dangerously close to something more forbidden. After a long moment, he pulled away. His expression softened, yet the ache in his eyes remained, a silent reminder of what could never be. Thank you, but it feels like a secret we can never fully share. He whispered, his voice quaking with unspoken feelings. A tender smile graced my lips, gently tucking a wayward lock behind his ear. Her heart raced at the closeness. Forever, Jone, forever. We lingered in silence, the unspoken tension wrapping around us like a secret we dared not share. His thoughts churned like a storm caught in the whirlwind of everything we dared not speak of. At last, I shattered the stillness. What if we do this? I whispered softly. Tomorrow night we can share our thoughts and maybe, just maybe, we'll find a way through this together, all right? He nodded, a flicker of warmth breaking through the shadows of his gaze. All right, thank you, Maria. You mean so much to me. As I slipped out of his room that night, a whirlwind of emotions surged within me, a deep sadness for the hurt he carried, fury ignited by the heartlessness of those around us, and a silent promise to guide him back to the person he once was. Jone had a strength he couldn't see, and I was determined to show him just how powerful he truly was. The following evening, I resolved to create a space where Jone could feel at ease. I crafted his favorite meal, spaghetti with garlic bread and a fresh salad, arranging the table with delicate precision. Candles flickered softly, casting a warm glow that felt almost too intimate for the moment. As he stepped into the kitchen, a flicker of warmth crossed his face, and I noticed the tightness in his shoulders begin to fade, if only for a moment. It's intoxicating. He whispered, his voice soft yet filled with sincerity. I smiled as I handed him the plate, our fingers brushing for just a moment, sending a thrill through me that felt both exhilarating and wrong. As the tension faded, a spark ignited between us. By the end of our meal, Jone was laughing softly, his eyes glimmering with a light that had been absent for far too long. After dinner, we slipped into the living room, hearts racing with unspoken words. The flickering candles painted the room in a warm, tender light, wrapping them in a cocoon of closeness and unspoken desires. I sank into the sofa, my heart racing as I patted the space next to me. Jone paused, uncertainty flickering in his eyes, before finally taking a seat beside me. We talked for a while, the words dancing between us, yet an unspoken tension lingered in the air, electric and undeniable. Jone bore the heavy burden of our past, and I felt the moment had come to confront it head-on. Jone? I whispered, my heart racing as I turned to meet his gaze. What are your thoughts on our talk from last night? He glanced at his hands, warmth creeping into his cheeks. I want to trust you, but the whispers around us linger, making it so difficult to let go. I nodded, my heart heavy with longing for him. I get it, yet there are moments when the only path to liberation is to confront those emotions directly, to unveil the truth hidden beneath the surface. He looked at me, his eyes filled with a mix of longing and doubt. What are you trying to say? I inhaled sharply, weighing each word with trembling anticipation. Jone, I believe it would mean so much if you could just reveal it to me. I hope this doesn't make you uneasy, but I need you to know, truly know, that everything is just fine. His eyes widened, a spark of panic dancing across his features, igniting a rush of emotions I dared not acknowledge. Maria, I reached out, my fingers brushing against his arm, a spark igniting between us. If you're not ready, it's okay to hold back, but I need you to understand that with me, you are safe. Just a moment, raw and real, where nothing else matters but the truth between us. He paused, heart racing, breath caught in his throat, before finally giving a reluctant nod. I thought, all right. He rose, his hands quivering just enough as he brushed against the waistband of his sweatpants. The fear in his eyes pierced through me, a raw vulnerability that tightened my heart. With trembling hands, he lowered them, his face aflame with a mix of shame and longing. For a fleeting heartbeat, I was breathless. It was larger than I had imagined, but that wasn't what captivated me. It was the way he lingered, a silent promise hanging in the air, so vulnerable, so raw, as if he braced himself for the sting of denial. Jone, I whispered, my voice trembling with unspoken longing. You're perfect just as you are, even if it feels like the world says otherwise. In truth, you are cherished. Embrace the beauty of your true self. He cast his gaze downward, fingers trembling with unspoken tension. But what if it's overwhelming? What if no one can? I interrupted him softly, my voice steady yet tender. That can't be right. It's all about discovering that one person who sees you, truly sees you, and cherishes every part of your being. And until then, there's no guilt in discovering what stirs your heart alone. He looked up at me, a flicker of doubt in his eyes. But I gave it my all. It was never meant to be. For a heartbeat, I paused, my thoughts tangled in a web of longing and fear. Jone, would it make a difference if I revealed my feelings? What if I could guide you to the answers you seek? His eyes widened, revealing the turmoil within him. I don't want to cross any lines. I shook my head, my voice trembling with unspoken longing. You're just not. I'll always be here for you, Jone. I'll do anything for you. He nodded, a hint of uncertainty in his eyes, his cheeks still warm. I motioned for him to return to the space beside me, the air thick with unspoken words. As he moved, I couldn't help but reach out, my hands softly resting on his thigh as I inched closer, the air thick with unspoken tension. Just breathe, I whispered, my voice a gentle caress in the charged air. This is all for you, about finding solace in the warmth of your own embrace. The air crackled between us, a mix of longing and restraint, as my fingers brushed against him, both tender and resolute. His breath hitched, and I caught a glimpse of the turmoil swirling in his eyes, longing, release, and a spark of something forbidden. As I continued, he gradually let his guard down, his body surrendering to the moment. In that fleeting moment, hearts bared and secrets whispered. I held my breath, ensuring he felt safe, even as the world outside faded away. He let out a soft groan, his head tilting back against the sofa, and I watched as the tension in his body slowly unraveled. In that moment, he found his escape, a soft sigh slipping from his lips as he leaned back, weary yet undeniably lighter, as if the weight of the world had momentarily lifted. I handed him a tissue, my heart aching as I offered a gentle smile while he wiped away the remnants of his sorrow. Do you see it now? I whispered softly, tucking a loose strand of hair behind his ear. There's no reason to hide your heart. He nodded, a blush creeping across his cheeks, yet his eyes sparkled with a clarity that had been absent for far too long. Thank you, Maria. I'm at a loss for words. Your silence speaks volumes. I responded, my voice tinged with a warmth that felt both inviting and dangerous. Just remember, you're not the only one feeling this way, all right? We'll find a way, just you and me, no matter the odds against us. He smiled softly, a flicker of relief crossing his face, and we lingered in that quiet moment, hearts racing in the stillness. The room wrapped around us like a secret, the air thick with unspoken promises, and I felt the weight of our shared moment pull us closer. As we said our goodbyes under the dim light, a whirlwind of feelings surged within me, pride for his newfound courage, relief that he was rediscovering himself, and a deep, unspoken gratitude for the connection that lingered between us. Fragile yet undeniable. Jone had a strength within him that he couldn't see, and I was resolute in my mission to help him discover it, even if it meant crossing boundaries. The morning light crept through the kitchen windows, wrapping the room in a tender, golden embrace. The air was thick with the intoxicating aroma of freshly brewed coffee, mingling with the soft, sizzling sound of scrambled eggs, a moment both ordinary and charged with unspoken longing. I stood at the stove, flipping a slice of toast. My heart racing as memories of the previous night danced in my mind, each one a sweet ache I couldn't shake off. It was a fleeting, tender moment, one that I desperately wished had offered Jone the comfort he craved. Jone slipped into the kitchen moments later, his tousled hair a testament to his restless night, the hoodie draping over his tall figure like a secret waiting to be uncovered. He seemed uncertain, a flicker of vulnerability in his eyes, as he drew out a chair and settled at the table. Morning, I whispered, my heart racing as I set the plate of eggs and toast before him, our eyes briefly locking in a moment that felt both electric and forbidden. Morning, he whispered, his gaze flickering to mine for just a heartbeat before retreating to his plate. I settled into my seat, the warmth of the coffee in my hands. My gaze lingering on him with a mix of longing and hesitation. The silence hung heavy, filled with all the words we dared not say. Jone toyed with his food, the soft clink of his fork echoing in the charged silence, and I sensed the weight of unspoken words hanging between us. Did you sleep well? Yeah, you? What are you thinking about? All right, I whispered, my heart racing. My heart raced as I paused, caught between desire and doubt. Jone, what happened between us last night? He paused, his fork suspended in midair, and I caught a glimpse of the delicate blush rising to his cheeks. Is it really you? But I'll always be here, waiting in the shadows for you. He placed his fork down gently, fingers intertwining on the table, a silent tension hanging in the air. He gazed at them, a storm of emotion swirling within him. His jaw clenched as he struggled to articulate the unspoken feelings that hung in the air. I'm okay, he whispered at last, his voice soft yet filled with a depth of feeling. In truth, I'm better than I should be. Last night was everything I ever wanted. A fleeting smile danced on my lips, a rush of relief flooding my heart. I'm so happy, Jone. I long for you to embrace the beauty of who you truly are. He nodded, his cheeks still burning, yet a spark of daring glimmered in his eyes. He looked up at me, his gaze locking onto mine, igniting a spark that felt both thrilling and dangerous. Do you think we could steal another moment together tonight? I hesitated, my heart racing at the weight of his words. It was a fragile moment, one that demanded tender steps forward. Yet I could feel the weight of its significance to him. How deeply it had touched him. Okay, I whispered, my heart racing as I nodded. But let's make it more intimate this time. He raised an eyebrow, a spark of longing dancing in his gaze. Learning can be a journey filled with unexpected connections and unspoken feelings where every lesson learned brings you closer to someone you never thought you'd care for. It's a delicate dance of curiosity and desire where the heart races at the thought of what it could be even if it feels just out of reach. Yes, I whispered, my voice trembling with a mix of longing and resolve. Maybe we could share a moment that feels a little daring, just the two of us, lost in a world that's just ours. Something that reveals your uniqueness, that it can be a hidden treasure. Jone paused, his face flushing deeper, yet I caught the spark of curiosity dancing in his eyes. All right, if you believe it might make a difference, it will, I whispered, my fingers brushing against his as I squeezed his hand, a spark igniting between us. Believe in me. Later that day, after Jone had slipped away to university, I stood before my closet, heart racing as I pondered what to wear for the evening ahead. I longed for the night to hold a magic all its own, to weave a space that felt warm yet tantalizingly dangerous. After much contemplation, I chose a sleek, black dress that clung to my curves, igniting a thrill of excitement and danger within me. The fabric caressed her skin, smooth and inviting, holding a secret charm that was impossible to resist. Underneath, I slipped into a delicate set of black lace lingerie, a secret indulgence that felt both daring and intimate just for my own eyes. I longed to exude confidence, to create an atmosphere for the evening, all while ensuring Jone felt at ease. As I slipped into the dress, my heart raced at the reflection staring back at me, a smile breaking through the tension of the moment. It was a glance that danced on the edge of allure and grace, and I yearned for it to soothe Jone's restless heart. As Jone stepped through the door that evening, time seemed to freeze. He halted, his gaze locking onto mine, a flicker of surprise dancing in his eyes. His cheeks flushed a delicate shade, and I couldn't help but respond with a soft, inviting smile. Hey, I whispered, my heart racing as I motioned to the sofa. Come sit with me, he paused, uncertainty flickering in his eyes, before stepping closer, his hands trembling with unspoken desire. The movie began, the screen glowing softly, and we sat side by side, lost in a quiet intimacy that felt both thrilling and wrong. As it unfolded, I highlighted the actors who mirrored Jone in stature, whispering that there was nothing strange or shameful about him. Look, I whispered, pointing to the screen, my heart racing. There are many men like you, and in another world, it would be a reason to celebrate. Jone leaned in closer, his tension melting away as he hung on my every word. His shoulders relaxed, and I watched as a flicker of confidence ignited within him, a spark that felt both thrilling and dangerous. As the movie unfolded, I felt a change in him, a daring spark that had been hidden away. He turned to me, his gaze heavy with an intoxicating blend of longing and intrigue. Maria, he whispered, his voice trembling with unspoken longing. Do you think we could bring that moment to life, the one we saw on the screen? I hesitated, caught off guard yet somehow ready for the inquiry. The request was daring, yet I could sense its weight on him, how deeply it mattered, how much he craved to feel in control, to feel wanted. All right, I whispered, my heart racing as I nodded. But only if you truly want this. He nodded, his eyes shimmering with a blend of longing and unspoken desire. I know it in my heart. The scene on the screen transformed, a tantalizing dance, slow and deliberate, the woman shedding her layers with a grace that felt both enchanting and deeply personal. I stole a glance at Jone, my heart racing as I noticed the way his breath had deepened, his gaze locked onto the flickering screen. His expression held a raw vulnerability, a blend of curiosity and nervousness that tightened around my heart. I longed for this to be a moment of solace for him, a fleeting touch of understanding and closeness. Silently, I rose, each movement measured and intentional, echoing the woman on the screen, a quiet longing stirring within me. Jone's gaze locked onto mine, a flicker of surprise dancing in his eyes as I started to move gently to the haunting melody of the film. The dress clung to me, its smooth fabric whispering secrets with every step I took. His gaze weighed on me, filled with unspoken longing, yet I remained fixated on the flickering screen, allowing the tension to simmer between us. With trembling fingers, I unzipped the dress, feeling it slip away, a whisper of fabric that pooled at my feet, leaving me exposed and breathless. The black lace lingered beneath, its delicate beauty unveiled, shimmering softly in the light. Jone's breath caught, his hands tightening into fists at his sides, yet the spark of longing in his eyes was undeniable. I moved closer, my heart racing, and let my fingers glide softly over his arm. He trembled at my caress, his gaze flickering up to find my own. It's all right, I whispered, my voice trembling with unspoken feelings. This is all about you, it's about revealing the hidden beauty within you, the kind that feels both thrilling and a little dangerous. His heart raced, cheeks burning with a forbidden heat, yet he remained close, unwilling to break the fragile connection. I leaned in, our lips barely touching in a fleeting moment that felt both electric and wrong. One that was intended to soothe, yet sparked something deeper. He replied with a hint of hesitation, his hands lingering in the air before finally resting softly on my waist. As I drew away, his eyes revealed a whirlwind of feelings, each one more intense than the last. Thankfulness intertwines with longing, wrapped in a haze of doubt. My heart raced as I gently brushed my fingers against the edge of his pants, a thrill coursing through me. "Let me help you," I murmured, my voice laced with a tenderness that felt both thrilling and dangerous. He nodded, his breath hitching as I slowly pulled his pants down, exposing the vulnerability that lay beneath his bravado. For a fleeting moment, I lingered, captivated by his presence, and the air thickened with the unspoken tension between us. "Jone," I whispered softly, my fingers brushing against his thigh, a spark igniting between us. "You're perfect just as you are, truly. In truth, you are something truly special." He gazed up at me, his eyes pleading for comfort, and I offered him a faint, encouraging nod. With trembling fingers, I led him closer, my touch a delicate whisper of what could never be. His breath caught, a quiet moan slipping from his lips as desire coursed through him. I moved with caution, each gesture measured, my gaze fixed on his expression, searching for any hint of unease. Instead, I witnessed pure bliss, the tightness in his form dissolving, giving way to an overwhelming wave of freedom. It happened in a heartbeat. Jone reached his peak sooner than either of us had anticipated. His body trembling as a deep, primal sound escaped his lips. The air crackled with unspoken tension, a fragile connection that felt both exhilarating and wrong. My fingers lingered on his thigh, a gentle touch as he struggled to regain his breath, and in that fleeting moment, everything else faded away. For what felt like an eternity, silence enveloped us. The room pulsed with a silent intensity, the air heavy with unspoken feelings. Jone's face burned with a blush, surprise, and relief dancing in his eyes. A shy smile played at the corners of his lips, and when our gazes locked, a warmth spread through me, tightening my chest with an ache I couldn't ignore. "Thank you, Maria. I'm not sure how to express this, I just can't help it, your silence speaks volumes." I interrupted softly, my voice laced with longing. "I'll always be here for you, Jone, forever." His smile was barely there, yet it melted the weight of unspoken words between us. In that fleeting moment, I could sense his relief, as if he had finally found a place where he belonged. It was a tiny step, yet it held so much weight, and I was resolute in my desire to lead him through this delicate journey. We lingered in that moment. The movie's whispers lost to us, enveloped in a fragile silence that felt like a balm for our souls. In that fleeting moment, our hearts intertwined, revealing secrets that had long been hidden. It was a fragile connection, one that allowed Jone to rediscover a piece of himself he had kept locked away, shrouded in shame. The room held its breath, a fragile silence enveloping everything, broken only by the gentle murmur of the television like a secret whisper in the dark. Jone and I nestled together on the sofa, the space between us crackling with a tension that was both soothing and thrilling. He struggled to regain his breath, his cheeks burning, a blend of shock and a hint of shyness dancing in his eyes. "I never thought it would unfold like this," he confessed, his voice barely above a whisper, tinged with a hint of vulnerability. I let out a quiet laugh, tucking a loose strand of hair behind my ear, feeling a rush of warmth at the moment. "It's okay, Jone. These feelings are overwhelming, especially when everything is so fresh and powerful. Just breathe and let it be." He nodded, yet the flicker of uncertainty in his eyes betrayed the unspoken tension between us. In that fleeting moment, I realized I held the power to ignite a spark within him, to help him reclaim his strength, even if it felt like we were treading on delicate ground. In silence, I drew nearer, my body grazing his, feeling the heat radiate from his skin, the subtle tension that rippled beneath my fingertips. "Do you feel it?" I whispered, my voice tinged with a teasing warmth. "Sometimes it's not the duration that matters, but the thrill of the moment. If you're willing, we could always explore this connection a little deeper." Jone's eyes sparkled with surprise, his breath catching in his throat as he gazed at me. "Is it true?" I nodded, a fleeting smile dancing on my lips. "Is it true? But only if you truly desire it." He paused, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face as his fingers danced anxiously in his lap, before he finally nodded. "All right, let's take that leap." I moved in closer, my fingertips brushing against his arm, and leaned in to place a gentle kiss on his neck. He trembled at my caress, his breath hitching, and I sensed the tightness in his body slowly dissolving. "Just breathe," I whispered, my voice a soft caress, laced with unspoken longing. "This is all about you, and the way you make my heart race in the shadows, about igniting a spark within you." I couldn't help but tease him, my fingers tracing his body with a soft, intentional caress. As I brushed against him, every movement was deliberate, savoring the moment until I sensed his desire rekindling. He released a soft, desperate sound, his head tilting back against the sofa as desire coursed through him. This time, I lingered, savoring every heartbeat as the air thickened with unspoken desire. Our lips met in a fervent embrace, my fingers exploring the contours of his chest and trailing down his body, igniting a fire within him that left him quaking with desire. Maria, my heart races at the mere thought of you. He inhaled sharply, his voice trembling with longing. Let's take this leap together. I hesitated, our eyes locking in a moment that felt both electric and wrong. His gaze was deep, brimming with a blend of desire and fragility, and in that instant, I realized everything was about to change for us both. Do you really mean it? I asked, my voice a soft whisper laced with urgency. He nodded, his fingers brushing against my waist, igniting a spark that felt both thrilling and wrong. Absolutely, just this once. I smiled softly, my heart aching with a longing that felt both beautiful and wrong. With a trembling heart, I gently urged him to recline on the sofa, the air thick with unspoken desires. His hands shook ever so slightly as they gripped me, his breath a hurried whisper against my skin. As I leaned in closer, the air crackled with tension, a surge of feelings that bound us together in a way that felt both exhilarating and forbidden. He let out a soft groan, his fingers gripping my hips with a desperate urgency, and I lingered, allowing him to embrace the thrill of the moment. It was a moment that took my breath away, something I never saw coming. It transcended the physical. It was a connection that stirred the heart, intimate and profoundly personal. His eyes held a depth of vulnerability, and as he clung to me, I felt the weight of our connection. This moment was charged with something far beyond mere pleasure. It was a delicate dance of longing, where trust intertwined with the thrill of the unspoken, and acceptance wrapped around their hearts like a secret promise. In that moment, we moved as one, our breaths intertwining in a melody that felt both right and dangerously close to something we shouldn't have. Jone's body shook, his hands clutching my hips as if fearing I might slip away. Release it, I murmured, my voice a gentle caress filled with longing. He nodded, his eyes fluttering shut as he gave in to the overwhelming feeling. His climax was electric, his body lifting off the sofa as a deep, primal sound escaped his lips. I lingered by his side until he finally sank into the cushions, breathless and vulnerable. We lingered in that moment, the silence wrapping around us, punctuated only by the rhythm of our breaths. A secret shared in the stillness. The air crackled with unspoken words, a fragile bond forming in the silence, hinting at a connection neither of us dared to fully embrace. Jone turned to me, his eyes brimming with a longing that felt both beautiful and dangerous. Thank you, Maria, it means more than you know. His fingers danced nervously against the mug, a silent battle raging within him. Maria, my heart races at the mere whisper of your name. I just want you to see the beauty in yourself, even if it feels like a secret between us. He nodded, his gaze intense, a weight of unspoken feelings hanging between them. I understand, but what we've shared is so tangled, you know? You've been my guide, my confidant, and now it feels like something deeper, and I can't bear to ruin this moment. I inhaled sharply, my heart pounding with urgency. Jone, we need to talk about what this really means for us. Last night was electric, filled with unspoken feelings that drew us closer. Yet we stand at a crossroads, unsure of what this connection truly means for us moving forward. His gaze locked onto mine, a silent plea hidden within the depths of his eyes. I can't bear the thought of losing this connection between us. Whatever it is, a bond that teeters on the edge, a connection that whispers of something deeper. I can't bear the thought of shattering this fragile moment, but I can't just act like last night was nothing. It meant everything to me. I nodded, my heart heavy with a swirl of longing and regret. My heart echoes your feelings, a silent confession that lingers in the air between us. Last night meant everything to us, but we must tread carefully, unraveling this tangled web together. His breath caught, the words lingering on the edge of his lips. Is it even possible for us? Should we hold on to this? What could it possibly be? Without crossing the line, a shy smile tugged at my lips as I hesitantly reached out, my fingers brushing against his arm. Maybe we shouldn't, but I believe we can. But it will require truth and an unspoken connection that lingers in the air. We must share our hearts, revealing the desires that linger in the shadows. And if the weight of our feelings becomes too much, we must find the courage to pull away, even if it hurts. He nodded, his gaze filled with unspoken longing. All right, I can make that happen. You're everything to me, Maria, more than you could ever know. I fought to hold back the tears that threatened to spill over. You're everything to me, Jone, and my heart swells with pride at the journey you've taken. But this whatever we're creating, it's become so much more than just about you now. It's always been about us, and that's a secret we must uncover side by side. His smile was a fleeting spark, igniting something deep within her, a connection that felt both thrilling and wrong. His eyes sparkled with a secret allure, hinting at a world just beyond reach. All right, in secret we find solace. We lingered in silence, the unspoken tension hanging heavy in the air between us. The morning felt like a breath of fresh air, yet it crackled with an unspoken tension. We had stepped into a world where retreat was impossible. Yet, deep down, I felt the thrill of what lay ahead, knowing we would navigate it all side by side, with truth, tenderness, and the unbreakable connection we shared. In that fleeting moment, Jone rose, a mix of longing and hesitation in his heart. I really should leave now. I have to go to class now. I nodded, my heart racing with unspoken words. Standing there, hearts racing, a moment suspended in time. Of course, I wouldn't want to hold you back. He paused for a moment, then drew near, wrapping me in a tender embrace. Thank you, Maria, for all that you've done. It means more than you know. I held him close forever, Jone. As he stepped back, his smile lingered in the air, a bittersweet farewell before he disappeared beyond the threshold. I watched him leave, the golden light framing his figure as he disappeared into the world beyond. In the stillness of the kitchen, I found myself lost in the echoes of last night, replaying our whispered words that lingered like a secret between us. This was something deeper, something that stirred the soul. It was a connection that grew in ways I never expected, pulling at my heart with an intensity that felt both thrilling and wrong. It was tangled, a whirlwind of doubts and longing, yet flickering with a fragile hope. The morning lingered in silence, both of us holding the heavy truth of our bond and the unspoken dreams of what might be.